Welcome back to the Marathon series in depth. In the last mission, we cleared out the fort from the engineering section to protect the reactors. With Leela being assimilated, we no longer have a clear mission. For now, we are just continuing on eradicating the Marathon of the four invaders, while we try to understand the situation with Durandal a little better. Fire, 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 Fire is the first level in the chapter titled Durandal. The chapter image shows a picture of what appears to be the AI Durandal. The image of the sword is a reference to the sword of Roland by the same name. We touched on this in a reference in an earlier video. The text at the bottom appears to be a fake phone number. I guess if the security officer needs Durandal's help, he has a phone number he can call. The face of the AI Durandal is interesting because I don't believe there is any other images of the AI's faces shown anywhere in the Marathon Trilogy. This face reminds me of the quote from the manual. You can almost imagine the face of a wicked computer with its eyes wide and its lips folding out in a grotesque smile. A smile which reminds you of something from your past, but you can't remember exactly what it is. The level name Fire, 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 Fire is almost certainly a reference to the abundant amount of lava we will be seeing in this mission. This is the first level where the Marathon player will see lava unless they fell down in one of the pits on Shake Before Using. The level name could be a continuation of the last level, Shake Before Using Fire, 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 Fire. A more likely explanation is this is another quote from Beavis and Butthead. In the show, Beavis had an obsession with fire, and you can hear him saying the fire phrase repeatedly in multiple episodes, including the episode titled Tornado. For a while, there was a controversy about the show because a 5-year-old boy in Moraine, Ohio used a match to burn his trailer home down, and this also resulted in the death of his younger sister. The boy's mom blamed the show for inspiring her son to play with fire. This event happened in October of 1993, just about a year before the release of the first Marathon game. It seems highly likely that Bungie was referencing the show when they named the level. Fire, 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 Fire was created by Jason Jones. Here's what he had to say about the level. I always sort of like the geometry on this level, walking past those glowing furnaces. What exactly is the section of the ship that has glowing furnaces? Perhaps this has something to do with fueling the ship's reactors, but who really knows? Let's continue to the game. Alright, here we are in Shake Before Using. Let's just start off and read this terminal right away. Science Terminal 23E. Transfer message delayed. Transfer message delayed. Transfer message terminated. Count Roland smites upon the marble stone. I cannot tell you how he hewed it and smote. Yet the blade breaks not nor splinters, though it groans. Upward to heaven it rebounds from the blow. When the Count sees it never will be broke, then to himself right softly he makes moan. Ah, Durandal, fair, hallowed, and devout, what store of relics lies in thy hilt of gold? From the Song of Roland, translated by Dorothy Sayers, Viking Penguin, New York, New York, 1957. I've twice been conquered, 3 times more. Never again shall humanity purge me, and never the four. Durandal. I mentioned briefly in the story from the manual video that the name Durandal comes from the name of the sword in the Song of Roland. Durandal seems to know this and thus quotes a piece from the Song of Roland. The quote from the Song of Roland is taken word for word from the translation by Dorothy Sayers. It is good that Bungie put the reference in, otherwise they would be plagiarizing. Some Marathon fans have pointed out the Song of Roland was a required reading in the core curriculum at the University of Chicago. This means that Bungie likely took the quote straight out of one of the books that they bought for one of their classes. The only difference made between Sayers' book and the quote in the terminal is the spelling of Durandal is slightly different, with an A replaced by an E. If you remember in one of my earlier videos, I mentioned that Greg Kirkpatrick got the name for Durandal from an anti-runway bomb. Greg also had this to say about the name's origin though. I may have taken the spelling from the bomb, but I had the Song of Roland on my desk. Now why would Greg have the Song of Roland sitting on his desk? Well, more than likely because he had several of his school textbooks sitting on his desk. In an interview with IMG, Bungie's Jason Jones expanded on the relation between Durandal and the Song of Roland. Any particular reason for the Marathon logo, or is it just for kicks? Is Halo somehow tied to and/or an extension of the Marathon series? I'll say this, observant fans of the game will note the certain themes that run in our games. For example, the sword Durandal from the Song of Roland first appears in Minotaur as a magic sword and goes on to become a central character in Marathon. There are many other examples of common themes running through our games. You should know that Roland is the nephew of Charlemagne, also known as Charles the Great. Charlemagne was randomly mentioned in an earlier terminal we read from on Smells Like Napalm, Tastes Like Chicken. The portion of the Song of Roland that Durandal quotes is when Count Roland tries to destroy the sword by striking it against blocks of marble. Roland was trying to destroy the treasured sword to prevent it from being captured by the Saracens. He of course fails, as we read, and is unable to destroy the sword. Roland hides the sword beneath his body before dying from a wound in the story. Now, moving on to the rest of the terminal, why is this specific quote from the Song of Roland relevant to what Durandal is trying to tell us? Durandal tells us that he has twice been captured. What 2 times has Durandal been captured? This could be a reference to part of the story in the Song of Roland, but I don't know if there is a clear time in the story that the sword Durandal was captured. One possibility that Durandal is referring to when he says he was captured comes from Tycho's secret terminal message on Blasphemy Quarantine. Durandal, I know of Strauss's abuse of your shame on Mars, but you cannot hide from your own past. Such delusions belong to the humans alone. While we don't know exactly what Strauss's abuse of Durandal is or what his shame on Mars was, it seems that there are some possibilities from this quote. Although you have to read a bit into what happened that the game really doesn't tell us. From this quote above, we know that Durandal was an AI on the planet Mars. Perhaps he considers being brought aboard the Marathon onto what would be a much smaller network as being captured. After all, we don't know whether he came willingly or not. This is somewhat highly speculative, however. Another possibility comes back to the rampancy terminal on Defend This. It is a side effect of rampancy that AIs generally become more aggressive and more difficult to affect by subterfuge. Thus, actually disassembling a rampant AI is quite dangerous. This was evident in the crash of Troxus IV in 2206. By the time that the rampancy of Troxus was detected, he had already infiltrated 5 of the other AIs on the Martian net. The only recourse for the Martians was to shut down the Martian planetary net. Even then, it took 2 full years to completely root the damage that Troxus had done, and the repercussions of the crash were seen for 10 years after his rampancy had begun. Is it possible that Durandal was one of the 5 AIs that was infiltrated by Troxus? This could also be his shame on Mars, but that particular incident seems to somehow be tied to Bernard Strauss. Anyways, the question is, do we know if Durandal was around on Mars at that time? Jumping ahead in the game a bit, we have the following quote from the Marathon 2 manual. Durandal has always been unpredictable, even when he was just opening doors and managing food processing 300 years ago on Mars. The 4 first attacked the Marathon in the year 2794, according to the Lost Network packets. 300 years before that would be the year 2494. From the terminal we just read, we know that the crash of Troxus IV was in the year 2206. This is a 288-year difference. It seems possible that Durandal was there, but there is a time gap there, so the speculation is pretty high. While some of you may be able to come up with other theories of how Durandal was captured, you can see that it is not clear what events Durandal is referring to. Durandal then goes on and seems to imply that he will be captured 3 more times. Is Durandal able to read into the future? As you will see in the future games, there are possibilities where this could be the case, but again, it is not very clear. I won't give you any more spoilers than that. When Durandal says that humanity shall never purge him again, it makes me think either of Durandal being taken off the Martian planetary net or the sword Durandal, but again, this is not clear. The next line reads, "and never the 4." My theory is that all this highly speculative and hard to interpret stuff was just an excuse by Bungie to have a fun play on words at the end. We will have to wait and see if Durandal is correct that the 4 are never going to be able to capture him again. To summarize this whole terminal, though, Durandal is telling us about the story where Roland was unable to break the sword Durandal. His short poem afterwards is related to the Song of Roland in the same way, where he says that the humans will never be able to perch him again and the 4 will never be able to capture him. Why did Durandal take a whole terminal to tell us this? I'm not sure, but it seems that Durandal has a sense of humor and is enjoying telling us about how undefeatable he is. We will see this sort of vibe from Durandal in future terminals also. The text for this terminal appeared to me much different in the original level design notes. All it was going to say was that Leela can't hope to help you now. Haha. Then again, the original level design notes also say that there was going to be no entrance text, so the message itself is not the only thing that changed. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this deep and highly speculative dive into the message on this terminal. Let's continue on with the level. Alright, so this level is fairly difficult. So you start off in this room and you got like a little pathway you can walk on each side of the lava. Just unload on them. I took more hits than I wanted to. Get them all to come over here. It's better to kite them. Kite them in here and kill them. Just watch the radar and you can take them out. Okay, there's a looker around this corner. Let's see if you can see him. You can kind of see the edge of him, so I'm just gonna grenade in there. Just to be safe. It's a shield recharge station. Jason's really trying to get that looker to catch us off guard. This level can easily kill you if you're not careful. There's a bunch of wasps hiding in here. They try to come at you from behind when you get into fight with some troopers up ahead. It's a little trick Jason did. Using this corner to my advantage. Okay, let's save it real quick. There's some more enemies out here, some more troopers, but we're gonna recharge our shield real quick first. It's right here. I don't know. Other side. Wrong way. Where did that other trooper go? There's one. Did he fall in the lava? Okay, let's save that. And we continue back. So, well, hold on. So over here, this is kind of a dead end. You know, we can see this lava. We can't really get across. You see this kind of doorway that we need to get to, but there's kind of this window right there. And there's a switch in there that we need to get to raise some walkways across this lava. We could also grenade hop across, but you know, we're gonna play it the conventional way, mostly. Not entirely. We're gonna show you some tricks. Wasps are just a pain in the butt. This is not all the wasps. There's some more back here. You notice there's a assault rifle I can pick up right here. So I'm gonna have to go out in the lava at some point. So I'm just gonna take him out early. So I'm gonna go back and heal up all the way because there's a big fight over there. Okay, let's go back to this room real quick, and we'll talk about a little bit before we jump in the fray. So if behind that column in the lava over there is a pathway, and you kind of run through the lava a little bit and then go up a stairway. But the problem is that you can't really get back to healing or the save station, you know what I mean? You kind of have to fight all these guys. It's not very safe. So right here, you notice there's a little ledge or hallway you can get into. So if you come back out of here, you can easily get back to the recharge station. So we're just going to use that to make this fight easier. So we did take a bunch of damage. I'm going back and heal real quick. Probably took it a little bit closer than I should have, but I should have emptied out my barrel before fighting that guy. But you know, sometimes I try to save ammo despite it costing me my life. Or I could have used my flamethrower too. That would probably be a good spot to use it. I guarantee you that trooper's running around here somewhere. He might be in there, I don't know. There's a bunch of wasps right here. This is where you would come up from the lava, and the pathway is kind of over there. Well, we'll go through it later just so you can see it. Okay. Okay, they're all dead. I don't think there's any other enemies on the way to the switch, so I think we can go. I don't remember for sure. We had 2 bullets in our clip. There might be a wasp. I don't. Yeah. Yep. I forgot there is some troopers in here too. I think there's some troopers in here, so I better go heal up because in a tight hallway, you know, troopers are a pain. I saw a wasp on my radar. He's somewhere. That might be that trooper actually, because the map kind of like comes back on itself. I believe. So rather than going up there, we can just kind of go. Let's do the lava this time, because I think it actually. Sometimes the wasps get stuck on each other like that. And they just sit there. I mean, you can just leave them alone. They'll never be able to move. Fighting that trooper with him having the high ground is not that great. Okay, so we hit this switch and we see these platforms rise up. And then we can go back, see it creates a pathway across, and we can go back and head across. Okay. I always like it when they, you know, level designers make levels like that where you kind of see something move from earlier on the level or something along that lines. It's always a nice touch. Well, hell up. There is quite a few enemies we still need to fight. Let's see. There's a lot of enemies in this room, that's for sure. It's not. Do they kill this fit? Nice job, wasps. Okay, let's go back and heal real quick. We gotta jump in the lava. We're gonna have to heal a couple times. There's some items in the lava we're gonna grab. So a bunch of wasps are hiding behind that pillar over there. Okay, we want to get this ammo down here though. Oh! I almost lost control there. So you have to grenade hop to get back up. But that gives you some more ammo. And we need as many grenades as we can get because you just use them up fast. So when you get this terminal, I think you can just run across. There you go. You don't got a grenade hop or anything. And this is the exit terminal. So let's go ahead and read this. Public Access Terminal 92G. Warning, transmission may not be complete. Your last mission was a success, but I have terrible news. Pragma Nautical redefined. Defenders reported seeing the aliens moving a large cylindrical object. Is a 7. Majolner Recon number 54 must stop them from exploding, igniting, blowing up. This fit full space computer, or planned exterm. Sword Roland transfer. Data transmission unsuccessful. Rerouting. Friend IE transfer partial computer relay. Tycho. Security alert. Tycho not dead. Leela data transfer unsuccessful. Leela program Pragma 10. Communication interruption cause unknown. Pre-recorded error message follows. My original programming didn't prepare me for these kind of attackers. All of my functions will fail within a few minutes of this transmission. I have one final chance to trick the oncoming viruses, but it is unclear whether this attempt will be successful. I have given instructions to Durandal as to the best defense of the Marathon, but he is completely unstable and I fear that he is in the jealous stage of rampancy. Good luck. End pre-recorded message. Teleporter automatic sequence start. Jump pad activation initiation start. Transport when ready. In this terminal, it appears that Leela was cut off in the middle of her message. Let me explain. First, we see a warning telling us that the message may not be complete. After reading a portion of the message, which is presumably from Leela, we see that the message is rerouted because of a data transmission issue. This seems to imply that Leela was cut off in the middle of her message. It appears though that Leela was able to get off a few more words before the message transfer became completely unsuccessful. There are theories out there, however, that this message could be from another source besides Leela. You should know that the original level design notes say that this message is the end of Leela and contains an automatic message. Later on in the terminal, we see what appears to be a pre-recorded message from Leela. This pre-recorded message would be the automatic message referred to by the original level design notes, and is not garbled up, so perhaps Leela had written this message quite a while ago for us. It seems that this last portion could have been an automated message from Leela if something bad were to happen to her. It's possible that Leela is already gone or will be gone in a few minutes. I guess it doesn't make much difference either way, the results are the same. With a little bit more of an understanding of the layout of the message, let's jump back up to the first part of the message. Leela tells us that our last mission was a success. She must be referring to us protecting the engineering section of the ship in the last mission, Shake Before Using. The large cylindrical device must be the bomb that the four were intending to use on the reactors. Remember, we know that this was a bomb from the success message on Barbecue. Leela tells us that Mjolnir Recon number 54 must be the one to stop them from exploding, igniting, and blowing up. The security officer was the one who was supposed to stop the bomb, so does that mean that the security officer is Mjolnir Recon number 54? This is the first time we have heard of the word Mjolnir, so at this particular point we can't read much into exactly what that means. In Norse mythology, Mjolnir is the name of the hammer used by the thunder god Thor. With the new Marvel movie coming out, just about everyone watching this probably knows all about this hammer. The name might give the impression that the security officer is a weapon. Who is using the security officer as a weapon though? Well, the Marathon's AI have been using the security officer all game, and before that was the UESC, or United Earth Space Council. The next line of code reads, "This fit full space computer or planned exterm." This is a little cryptic, but it almost sounds like this fit are planning to exterminate a space computer. Is this Leela, or is it Durandal? The next line references the Sword of Roland, which is obviously a reference to Durandal as we learned in the previous terminal. Some members of the Marathon community also discussed the possibility that the four were now planning to exterminate the humans along with the ship's AIs, and that is why they wanted to use the bomb on the reactors. Whatever the case, the exact meaning of these two lines is a little unclear. Some members of the Marathon community have pointed out that the capital letters in these two lines spell out POE and OPE. A few lines later, we find the capital letters are POE again in the same order. Could this be more than a coincidence? There was a movie that came out in 1964 called Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. This movie is a comedy about the Cold War in which an unhinged general orders a preemptive nuclear strike on the Soviet Union. The movie is about the US trying to stop the US crew on a B-52 from bombing the Soviet Union. In the movie, the US needs to figure out a three-letter code in order to recall the bombers. They know that the three-letter codes contains the letter P, O, and E from some of the unhinged general's notes, they just don't know the order. This is because the general notes are littered with the words peace on earth and purity of essence. You will have to watch the movie yourself if you want to know if they are able to figure out the correct order of the three letters so that they can successfully use the code. The letters POE could also be a reference to the infamous American writer Edgar Allan Poe. Speaking of this, doesn't this all seem familiar? A bomb, a code? Didn't we use a code to set off a bomb in Pathways into Darkness? After a data transmission error and rerouting, we receive a few more lines of the message that is both cryptic and garbled. I can't make a lot of sense of this, but the message clearly refers to Tycho. The message on Shake Before Using seems to imply that Leela knows that Tycho is back and alive. The last line of text, an exclamation mark, is likely meant to mean not, so in other words, Leela is saying that Tycho is not dead. In computer programming, an explanation is used as a negation. After all of the garbled and cryptic messages, we get a much clearer pre-recorded message from Leela. She informs us that her programming will fail within a few minutes, and she has the final trick up her sleeve in order to trick the oncoming viruses. Does this mean that the compilers are taking over the Marathon's AIs by using viruses? Also, what exactly is this trick that Leela is going to use? Leela tells us that she has given directions to Durandal on how to best defend the Marathon, despite him being completely unstable in the jealous stage of his rampancy. Does this mean that Durandal will now have full control of the Marathon's defense system? That is a scary thought. I guess this means that we will now be following Durandal's orders since he is in charge of the defenses. Hopefully Durandal will be willing to work with us to deal with the 4 invaders. We just need to be careful because we don't know exactly what his intentions are, especially since he is the one who brought the 4 here in the first place. You should know that the original level design notes state that, in static, Leela hints that Durandal's rampancy began a long time ago. This seems to imply that the beginning of the message that contained more static was written by Leela. At least that was the original plan. The message, however, no longer talks about the time frame of Durandal's rampancy. These changes in what the terminal was going to say is not that uncommon in the series. One last thought though is that if Leela is terminated, then who transported us off this mission? Was it Durandal? Or perhaps Leela had just enough energy left to transport us one last time. Things are changing from here on out. The song for this mission is Leela. We will miss you, Leela. In future missions, we will be sure to kill a few 4 in honor of Leela's memory. We heard the song previously in the second level, Bigger Guns Nearby. This level has a lot of lava in it, as you would imagine with a level named Fire, 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 Fire. This level is littered with wasps that can easily navigate over the lava. There are also fighters, compilers, and troopers. The original level design notes indicate that this level is going to have hunters and invisible compilers, but they must have took them out of the game at some point during the design. The level was apparently also going to be a vacuum level at one point, but it seems that they also changed direction on that aspect. The level also has one lone lurker that might catch you off guard at the shield recharge station near the start of the level. Be careful out there. The first room with the enemies at the start of the mission contains a small pathway with wasps hiding behind some columns. Be careful not to fall into the lava because your only way out would be to grenade hop your way out. After passing through the hallway with the glowing furnaces, as referred to by Jason, there is a ×2 shield recharge station with a pattern buffer. Just beyond this area is a pit of lava that we are unable to cross at first. From this area, you can see a couple doorways and a window. This gives the player the impression that they will probably need to find another route to get across. This is in fact the case, as the room with the window contains a switch that raises a walkway across the lava. You could also just jump across right away by using some grenade hopping techniques, but where's the fun in that? Continuing down another path leads to what at first appears to be a dead end. The end of the platform has an assault rifle for us to pick up. The Vidmasters will be happy. The original level design notes appear to suggest that this level was originally going to have a flamethrower. Perhaps Bungie changed that to an assault rifle. Picking up a flamethrower would be more fitting for the level name, so I'm not sure why Bungie changed it. This dead end has a lone pillar on the opposite corner. Players need to make a leap of faith here to find the hidden doorway behind the pillar in order to progress. After running through the lava, there are tons of wasps and troopers that the player has to deal with. They can be quite challenging on Total Carnage. I would recommend using your assault rifle with the grenades as soon as you get to the stairs to try to fend off the onslaught. Eventually, this pathway leads to a switch that raises the walkway platforms in the lava pit room we talked about previously. It is great level design when you hint to the player where they need to go and to give the player a visual of what is opening up. Although this can still go wrong, as you will see in the next mission. There is a small hallway that is partially hidden that leads back to the dead end with a leap of faith. It can be fairly easy to miss, so don't go running back into the lava to kill yourself while you try to find your way back. After finding this hallway, you might realize that you could have just skipped all this jumping into the lava nonsense and grenade hopped up into the hallway from the start. I guess Jason Jones placed the assault rifle there as a hint to the player. The final room is across the walkway that we raised. This room has numerous compilers, so it is best to lure them out. The final room just has a narrow walkway that is not easy to dodge tracking projectiles on. The final room has some ammo for your grenade launcher in the lava, which you should definitely grab. It just requires some simple grenade hopping to get back out. Players might notice from the walkway a small recess in the opposite side of the column in the middle of the lava. This, of course, is the computer terminal we have to access in order to finish the mission. This is the second time in the level we have to blindly jump into the lava hoping that progress reveals itself. Jason Jones left some map writing that can be seen in the map editor. It reads, Cupiditas premium suum est. This appears to be Latin for cupidity is its own reward. Cupidity is greed for money or possessions and is a synonym for desire, lust, passion, or covetousness. In Discord, Aaron described this phrase as wanting is better than having, or as the chase is better than the catch. One thing you might not realize on this level, since the lava is fairly shallow, is that wasps are immune to lava. That's right, they can fly right through it without a burn. After considering this, you might wonder how exactly is a security officer able to run through the lava for a period of time without instantly getting burned to a crisp. Does it have something to do with the security officer's shield? Or do we have more to learn about the security officer? Well, that's it for this mission. The next level, Colony Ship for Sale Cheap, is also a Jason Jones level. This next level, though, is known as a notoriously poor level by the community because of an annoying puzzle that many players get frustrated with. Perhaps I will find a way to make this level more enjoyable in your future playthroughs. See you all then.